in our market, sellers want the most money possible.
Right.
And buyers want the best deal possible. So I did Thursday nights there. I was a sub promoter collecting,
$5 a hit.
$5 a hit. I probably getting screwed because people came after the cover charges.
Yeah.
How do you find those people? That's the toughest part of the world today.
All right, welcome to another episode of Behind the Rise. We are here with a very special guest and good friend, George Sarkis, CEO of the Sarkis team. Actually, officially the number 2 team in Douglas Elliman in the country.
Yes, number 2 large team in the country.
But that's a huge, that's no small feat. So congratulations on that.
Sure, there's economy and stuff too. It's like, but easy to sell homes over here. They make it seem like it's easy. Every time I look at their Instagram, they have like 15 houses under contract.
That's why last year when I was watching, I'm like, okay, 2024 was a tough year for a lot of people, whether you're a developer, whether you're a buyer, seller, brokerage. I mean, inventory's down, buyers aren't buying, interest rates are up. I mean, it was a shit show last year, and you guys were breaking records, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely not easy. I mean, if it was a good year, we could have done a lot better with the inventory we had. But in our market, sellers want the most money possible.
Right.
Buyers want the best deal possible.
Right.
So if you have a buyer, it's like you can't get a deal done because he wants to offer 5 on 7. And if you have a seller, he wants 8 when his place is worth maybe 6.5.
Right.
So it's a challenge. And last year was brutal. And the start to this year is not any different.
That's what I was going to ask. So this year looks like it's kind of trending the way last year was.
Yeah, it's not sunshine and rainbows. You have to really fucking outwork everybody, dude.
It's
to the point where you can't put anything up on social media. You can't send an email and pray that, someone's going to sell. Like I made 195 calls this week. Well, just to real estate agents, like letting them know we have this listing. Do you have a buyer? Like I am out there hitting the pavement, doing whatever I have to do. We're doing the new school marketing, but we're also just picking up the phone and grinding.
Some people forget about that.
You got to call
the old school, just build relationships, ask for referrals, go out there, pound pavement.
Yeah, I remember when we were having a hard time selling our properties in Florida, and I called him, and that was the first thing he said. He said, you need to find somebody who's going to be an absolute dog and pick up the phone and dial and do old school, call everybody. And when I was interviewing agents down there, literally that's what I was telling people. Are you willing
Who's
to
going to
sell
start
your
their
soul?
soul for the
Right.
shit? Yeah.
The funniest thing is that I went on a pitch about, I think like 6 weeks ago, and I printed out my phone records. And I asked the seller, because you can't record calls. It's illegal. I didn't know that. Should have done that, but I didn't. So what I did was I told the seller when I was going to pitch their listing, I said, everyone's going to tell you they do a bunch of things. Here are my phone records. If you cross-reference every one of these numbers in the time, you'll see 65 calls were made in a 45-minute span.
Wow.
And those numbers will all cross-reference for the top real estate agent in Massachusetts. And the reason why you'll see that is because I was calling regarding a specific listing and asking them if they had a buyer. Everyone can say they're going to do something. Well, you have to be able to show it and prove it.
Right.
It's easy to fucking to just tell everyone that you're going to, you can sell it and I'm going to do this and social media and PR and that stuff's all smoke and mirrors. At the end of the day, you got to pick up the phone and call, dude.
Yeah, it's a huge marketing thing nowadays too, because everybody's like so focused on the next trend and the classic marketers, like the best, are like, okay, everybody's doing that. Do direct mail, call, like do what everybody else is not doing, and that way,
you do it all. You don't know what's gonna hit. You don't know what's gonna hit. Like direct mail, I've maybe had 1 or 2 people reach out about direct mail. Like now, there's different ways to do direct mail, and I tell every agent this. I'm like, dude, write a handwritten note or like have something specific on the stamp outside of what you're sending. Like, but direct mail at the end, if you don't measure the success you've had over a 1-year span, like if you sent out 500 new postcards or 500 letters or 1,000 and you got 1 lead, what did that lead generate you? And what did you spend?
Yeah, you gotta look
You
at
got $300,000 fucking condo sale out of it, which equates to, I don't know, $5,000, and you spent 15 grand. You failed. You lost 10 G's. What's the ROI on it, dude? It's like picking up the phone and calling is free.
Right. That's true.
But before you started selling because you hit $1 billion.
We surpassed $1 billion last year. We're close to 2 billion now, I think. But we're probably around 1.7 billion in sales now. But last year we celebrated with our clients, hitting $1 billion in sales.
Badass. But I think the more impressive thing for me is not necessarily the sales up. Like all that stuff is great and amazing, the brand, but it's the speed. It's the speed of how fast he built the business to where it is now. Like to get to $1 billion in sales in how long did it take you?
7 years.
But that to me is impressive, to build a team that fast to get to 1.8 or $1.7 billion in total sales and now doing, run rates of $400 to $500 million a year. That's insane.
I know.
I mean, but you have to think there's two of us, just like you guys are brothers. You guys are a family business. I mean, I'm not going to take I'll take the credit, obviously, but my brother and I, and then having an unbelievable team around us is the only way you can do that. It's like, how many homes can you show in a day?
Yep.
How much can you handle? Like having my brother as my partner, when they think of Manny, they think of George, vice versa. It's like, it allows us and puts us in a position, same with our previous businesses and, everything else, like to divide and conquer.
Right.
And, we just hired a new sibling team, and they're on.
I saw that.
Yeah, the Cormier sisters, and they're great. Shout out to them. But I see what they're doing, and I'm like, guys, girls, ladies, please, like you have to figure out a way to divide and conquer here. Like you both talking to that seller, you both going to that listing appointment, you both going to that showing. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how they're doing it. And, Manny and I did that in the beginning.
Yep.
The whole point of growth and having a team and adding value is, teaching people how you've made mistakes.
Right.
And sharing those mistakes so you can actually get better and grow and help other people, even though they're going to make mistakes and they need to. It's part of the process. But
yeah, the biggest part about the learning is taking, hey, listen, I did this. I'm doing what you did. Instead of you banging your head against the wall for 3 years, let me speed that gap to make it into 3 months. I'm going to give you a couple learnings, and you're going to avoid all the mistakes that I made.
Yeah,
that's sure.
But you guys are out there selling and managing a large team too, right?
Yeah.
So how are you and Manny? Because people ask this to us all the time too, like working with your brother, right? Like, how do you separate your duties? Like responsibilities, duties. Like, is one more managing, one's more selling, or are you guys both doing?
Yeah, no, we're like, some things we just obviously have to oversee together. But I'm a marketing guy. I'm a big brand guy, and Manny is a numbers guy. He really is focused on the finances. We both sell. We're both great salespeople, great marketing people. But when it comes to Manny's great at managing people, I'm great at coaching people. There's different things there. Like we have a staff of, we have a director of operations. We have a transactions manager. So Manny's really good with that side of the business. For me, I run a Monday morning huddle. Every Monday morning at 10 a.m. How was the weekend? What's going on? I lead the team meetings. I enjoy getting on the phone and coaching an agent through, a specific scenario. Like I was on the phone with Roy, who's one of our top agents before I got here. And, he's going through a little something with a deal. And I was like, dude, keep your head up. I go, when was the last time you called, some past clients? And like, we're just like, hey, just thought about you. He's like, you know what? I was like, don't get so focused in the business all the time. You need to work on the business.
Yeah.
And those are two separate things. So like, you have to have a happy medium. Obviously, we got to get out there. We got to grind. We got to show houses. But Manny and I find a way to divvy up the roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
And attack the big, high level, high stakes problems and scenarios together.
Yep. That's beautiful.
Because I've noticed recently you guys have more hired like a different type of hiring. Now you have a director of marketing, like you mentioned. You have like different levels of management, different levels of like these director roles. When did you get to that point where you were like, shit, we need to get a director of marketing? Or you like, where did that point happen?
So we've, made some mistakes along the hiring process for sure. Not that the people that we hired weren't good people, not that they weren't, capable. I just think that we realized that you have to have the right seats on the bus.
Right.
And is it even, are they the right seats? Are they the right people? Like, or are they both wrong? Like, and you have to figure out how to divvy up responsibilities. We, at one point had too many people because I mentioned to you earlier, like revenue's great. Revenue's awesome. You can bring in $9 million in commissions, but what the fuck is your bottom line?
Right.
The profit is everything. And sometimes, like, you see all these things on social media, they grab my attention when I'm scrolling. It's like, are you the guy that just keeps on hiring and hiring? Like, what if you built these systems? And that's what I'm trying to focus on, is like simplifying the systems. So for people, because listen, we're not a Fortune 500 company, dude.
Right.
Like there were some brokerages with 100 agents that are, have salaries that are pretty much in line with ours. We have 20 agents, 15 agents and 5 staff. So it's like, it's all about figuring out who's doing what, how to divide and conquer. In real estate, it is a business of people have to do different things. Like, we're not in real estate, like at this point where we are, we don't need a CFO.
Right.
We don't need a human resources department.
Right.
Like, it's we do it all. So sometimes, the director of operations has to deal with employee contracts, and when you work for a big brokerage like we do, they have, legal and people that we can rely on and go to for situations that hopefully we don't get ourselves into. But it's really figuring out what you really need, what your 5-year plan is, what your 10-year plan is, and what's after that.
And hire, scale, and grow, and
exactly.
do that appropriately.
And the only way to know is to fuck up, which we've done plenty of times.
And the other thing I've noticed is, with you guys, it's a clear-cut brand. Like, if someone had tell me, define me who the Sarkis guys are and what they are like a very high-end boutique brokerage. Like, they are going after the 1% of the 1%, high-end homes. But in terms of when you guys are looking to scale, are you guys looking to do different sectors? Like, for example, to say, you know what, we're maxing out, we're fatiguing this sector here. Is it a good idea to maybe look into hiring someone for like the multifamily sector for investors, or maybe like to focus on like the first-time home buyer sector? Like, have you guys thought about almost like,
or maybe they're doing that now?
Yeah, or maybe you're doing that now. I don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's the thing. It's like, your brain works very similar to me, Valentino, for sure. And it's like, we want to do everything. Like, we want to do everything. I have an idea every fucking 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're in Massachusetts. This isn't LA.
Yep.
This isn't Miami, in Palm Beach, in New York City. Like, we're in Massachusetts. So, average prices are not average prices in other markets. So, like, we are pretty much going to do whatever we're luxury. Yes, our brand is luxury, but you can be luxury selling a $600,000 place.
100%.
Like, you can make sure it's nice. You can have a success. You can have a critical path and a curated approach to selling a $600,000 home. At the end of the day, an offer to purchase, a purchase and sales agreement, a home inspection, and the overall process of buying a home is the same, whether it's $600,000 or $60 million. I even did a video a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, there is no perfect home. Whether you're spending $500,000 or $50 million or $500 million, it's like, what are your non-negotiables?
Yeah.
Like, what are your non-negotiables? Like, for us, it's like, we're in Massachusetts. The $600,000 buyer that I had when I started 7 years ago is a $3 million buyer now.
Right.
And the $600,000 place he sold was worth 1.5. So it's like, yes, we're luxury. We want the high end, but also we have a great team that follows our approach on selling anything. Now, yeah, there are markets we're not in, plain and simple. But if you're within 30 minutes of downtown Boston, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Multifamilies, we do multifamilies now. The one part of the business that we have not excelled at, and is something we are trying to do, but at the end of the day, it's not who we are. So it would literally have to be another division, is sourcing deals. We're not in a position to source deals for developers because we sell the beautiful product. We put a home in a position to sell for the most money possible. We're really good at the marketing of a home, and we don't have the time to go and knock on a door or to call someone who wants to sell their teardown. We get a lot of the calls from the developers the second or third time around when the person sourcing it, who they promised to give it to on the back end, couldn't sell it because they couldn't do what we do.
Exactly.
And we can't do what they do. So it's like, if I could have a separate division of people, just inside salespeople who are just calling, I have the developers who will buy it tomorrow. But I don't have the time to do that, dude. I have to go and show a home. I have to market a home. I have to look at floor plans for developers, design. Like, price things out, talk to my team. It's like, how many things can you do?
Not a lot.
While being a father and a husband.
Right. Exactly. Let's take it back, right? So as long as I've known you, you've been an entrepreneur, right? And it seems like it's in your family. It's you, your brother, you guys born and bred, right? The instincts that you guys have are very good, right? And you've been successful in everything that you've done. So where does that come from? Like, take us back to like where you like how you grew up, like what was the environment like? Kind of how did you get into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. I mean, we grew up, in a household where, my parents came here from Lebanon. My dad came here with pretty much nothing, went to school at Northeastern, was going to be an engineer, and, worked 3 jobs. So I think he worked as a cab driver, worked security at Reebok, and did something else while, going to school and trying to figure it out. He somehow stumbled across an opportunity to open up a cafe called Sabone in Harvard Square. And he opened up a cafe, not really ever operating a food business.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually expanded it and built it. And he had, I think, 7 or 8 locations at one point.
Oh, wow.
Did really well with it. He was on Harvard University campus. And we saw the stress of that, which really obviously impacts systems and processes and scaling a business. He had family working, and it was a great business, but the food business got tough. Rents got really hard in Harvard Square, one of the most expensive places to rent a retail space. And, he had ups and downs, but always worked his ass off, up at 3:30 in the morning. We'd go to work with him. We'd see him working his ass off. And he eventually, had ups and downs within that business, within the economy. And now he's shifted and he owns a full liquor store. Convenience store in Harvard Square. He's been there for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And, we've seen the ups and downs in that business, COVID, no students, like
right.
just everything else. And seeing him in the, bricks and mortars and retail business and food business, like, you guys are in that business.
Like, you don't like small margins?
What?
You don't enjoy small margins?
I don't enjoy the retail and the cash business of like having employees that can't go and do a shift. We lived it. Yeah. My dad didn't have people to work some days and we couldn't go on vacation. Right. You guys get that, like being in the food business, it's a grind. And, we then obviously were in other parts of, we were entrepreneurs too, but we saw our dad work his ass off. Our grandfather, my mom's dad, he's a real estate guy. Mm-hmm. And he bought a building in his like mid to late 30s. He retired and he bought a building in downtown Beirut. And that building, appreciated like crazy. He bought a ton of land that kept appreciating. And we saw him living the life in Lebanon. Like, he literally wakes up, like, has a drink, eats his garden. Like, he's, he goes hunting and he's just like, he's been living his life since he was like 38 years old.
Wow.
Because real estate. And, I've seen other people. My dad paying rent in Harvard Square, he could not afford to pay his rent when the students were gone sometimes. Like, because he was a business that literally was driven by the students being there. So summers were slow and not being able to pay the rent. Mm-hmm. And then the rent going up after his lease, was coming to a maturity date. And it's like being like, damn, I got to buy real estate. I don't want to pay rent.
Right.
And so all those assets, all those little facets in life, like made me realize that you have to own real estate, which, got me excited about real estate.
Right.
Yeah. Exposure.
Yeah.
Exposure at a young age. That'll do it.
So then what was your first like jump into business? What was it?
My first jump into business, well, the first time I ever realized I loved sales and making money was I was selling gym memberships in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at 16 years old. USA Swim and Fitness at the Hilton Hotel in Dedham. When I first got my first commission check, I was doing that and selling suits at K&G Warehouse.
That's fucking awesome.
At 16 years old.
High school?
Yeah.
Let's go. You were good at basketball too, yeah?
Yeah. So I did that like on the weekends when basketball wasn't in season, but like doing that. And then really when I went to school at Suffolk, I was a freshman and, just wanting to stay and live in the city, figuring out how I could make money and live in the city because my dad's business was in a tough position at that time. He was like, I don't want you to live in the city. you might have to move back home. I was like, I can't fucking move home.
Yeah.
Like,
Once you get out, you can't.
Living in the city was awesome. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, my dad can't help me at all. I'm in college. At that point, I was selling gym memberships at Super Fitness and Government Center and working the door at Clark's, Faneuil Hall. That didn't really pay much, but I then needed to live.
Yeah.
And I ended up like sub-promoting for Ben Herbalist at Sanctuary on Thursday nights.
You know Ben.
Ben Herbalist, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so that's how I got into
that was with
promoting.
Saigon before?
No. Sanctuary is where Joey D opened up the restaurant where the Harborside Hotel is.
Oh, Joy, that place called Joy or whatever?
Joya, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
JOIA or something, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did Thursday nights there. I was a sub promoter collecting, and I
$5 a hit.
$5 a hit. I probably get screwed because people came after the cover charge. We love back in the day, like, yeah, I want the 10s, not the 5.
Exactly.
But that was my, first taste of like understanding a possible business I could get into.
Yeah.
It was like seeing the money collected at the end, and if you're partying, you're having fun. And that's when I really got into it. But my brother and I bought a condo in the North End. Manny, I was still in college. Manny was working at PwC. He just got out, first job, making $70,000 a year or something. We bought this condo. You could 08, 09.
Time to buy.
Worst fucking time to buy, bro.
Well, the prices went.
Yeah, we bought right before Lehman Brothers crashed. So okay, so my kid went from 305 to 105. That's it. So we bought this condo. I couldn't really afford to pay my part of the mortgage. Manny was like struggling to cover both of us. So I was like, bro, we could put down 3%. Which is why the market, why shit hit the fan. We shouldn't have got a mortgage. I was in college.
Right.
Like I got a mortgage. And basically I go to Manny, I got to move home, bro. Like, you're going to have to rent out my room. He's like, dude, I'm not living with a stranger.
Right.
I was like, well, we have to figure out a way to make money. I knew about self-promoting. That's what I was doing at the time. I walked by a place called DJ's at the Garden, and it was a brand new place, and it was empty. And this was a night I just went for a walk, stressed out. Like, how can I stay in the city? Went in, talked to Barry Burke was the owner, was the manager.
Is it Hurricanes or Hurricanes?
No, DJ's at the Garden, next door to the Greatest.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Like, DJ's at the Garden is the first place ever. I walk in, I go, this was in November. I go, you guys have plans on New Year's Eve? They go, no. I go, okay, you guys want to have a private party? They go, yeah, what does that entail? I go, we got 300 people. I was like, can I do like an open bar? You could do open bars, no problem back then.
Oh, gravy.
I agreed to $10,000 for 300 tickets. I had to go back the next day and give them 10 G's.
Holy shit.
Problem was I didn't have 10 G's.
Right.
So I called my cousin, Pete. I always thank him for this. He thinks I still owe him, but. So we borrow the money. We pay the 10 G's. He gives us 300 tickets to sell. Manny and I walk out. I look at my brother. I go, 300 people that are going to come here, right? He goes, no, I thought you did. So we now 10 G's in the hole.
Yeah.
So we end up selling 300 tickets, 310, 31,000 less than 10 grand. I had enough money to pay my mortgage for the next, 10 months, 12 months. And then
at that time you were still sub promoting for Ben.
Yeah. And at that point,
you went rogue.
Yeah. And I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I think the statute of limitations is expired now where I was drinking under. But but bottom line is they called us and they said, great crowd, great event. Do you want to do Saturday nights? This is my ticket.
Saturday night is the ticket.
I was like, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
And they go, I want the full door because I knew about it from sub-promoting.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought Manny was still working at PwC. We thought if we could, bring in 200 people, 150 people, we make $500 a night.
Yeah.
Our fucking door hit the TD Garden the first night.
Yeah.
Well, I think our door did like $6,000. I was like, this is I'm rich.
That's it. At that point.
That's where promoting started, to be honest.
I had the same moment at Storyville. Got the full door one day.
Crazy.
I can't, again, before I was sub-promoting essentially for them.
Yeah.
And then, I was a bouncer at Whiskey Saigon.
I remember.
I was making like $12 an hour, like hustling people, and then finally got promoted at the door. In the door, I would hustle people all day long and make a couple $100. Probably make like $400 or $500 a night just hustling people at the door. And then finally, I got a deal at Storyville on Saturday nights.
I remember that.
And then the first night, blew it out of the water, lined to Indianapolis and back. And at the end of the night, everyone's, me and Bakari, we're crowding around and like we're counting. I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of 20s in here. I was like, 2,000. I'm like, dude.
Cash was different back then.
I was like, dude, 2,000. I was like, there's so much pile left. 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. It was like $8,000. Me and Mike were like, that's it. We're never leaving here again. We got to put all our eggs in this basket. I quit Whiskey Saigon, and that was it. So that was your moment.
That was it. Like now that I think about it, the mindset I have now in business, I wish I started an ATM company back then. Right. Every door, every club promoter, hey guys, great ATM cash, boom, boom, boom. We would have made money on every ATM in every club in the city of Boston. But like we didn't think that back then. Like it was that's growth. It's really growing and learning. But
then what happened? So what was the evolution? So obviously so you started a company, get into.
We had a snack business in between that too, healthy like
that. Yeah, we used to get we used to get nuts from you.
Yeah, we did that. That was fun. But that was once again, all those things were great. But what we're the most passionate about is where we are now. Real estate. Like we love, man, showing homes that I can't afford right now. That shit it drives you. It like adds more to, I can't afford 90%, 95% of the homes I sell.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in some of these homes. I mean, I get great inspiration. Like I text my wife, like, check out this wallpaper.
Yeah.
Like
look at the living room.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe one day we can have a limestone facade outside of the house that we built. Like it's fun, design, it's exciting. And honestly, just seeing the joy and happiness people get when they buy a home, first home or fifth home, like, and how happy they are. It's insane, dude. It's like, it's the biggest purchase people make in their life. So it's like being a part of that special.
Yeah.
And George and Manny was, just to go back a little bit, they were actually my first mentors ever, before I even knew really what a mentor
was definitely not your mentor.
Well, yeah. I mean, no, legit. I mean, because.
No, you guys taught him shit.
Yeah, because when I first started, they kind of, they brought me in. And then I really started to understand networking, because there's networking and there's building relationships.
They were cultivating them too.
Yeah, they were building relationships, and I was watching them build relationships from anyone to like a janitor that walks in to an athlete that walks in, and everyone was getting treated the same. And they always knew everyone's drink order, and they're always taking care of everyone. They're always, this person likes this bottle, and I was like just consuming it all so fast, and I was like, whoa. I was like, this is how relationships are built, not necessarily networking. Like they were building people that they were meeting, they were going out with the next day. If they met Joanne Bentley one day at like a night out, the next day they were grabbing dinner and like enjoying each other's company. It wasn't necessarily transactional.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to learn again from them. And you could talk about your learnings from nightlife and stuff too, but that was one of my biggest eye-opening moment of like, whoa, relationship building and networking is two different things. And taking care of people always has an ROI in terms of like, it comes back. And they never did it for it to come back. They did it because of like who they were. And then it just came back, I feel like naturally, like through the universe,
For sure. I mean, it's like, I didn't even know the Maya Angelou quote back in the day when I was doing this shit. But like,
right.
People forget what you said. They forget what you did. They'll never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And like part of entrepreneurship and sales or whatever it is, like nightlife is a prime example. Like, man, when you lifted that rope and you got someone through that line, man, they felt like they were on top of the world.
Right.
They at that point felt like they were fucking Jeff Bezos. Like they were like, I'm the man. And you make someone feel that important. Like,
right.
And it's crazy because like, even for me, like I remember people who some nights I didn't even know them. And I saw them in line and I was like, I'm going to go grab them from line and get them in. And like saying like, hey bro, what's going on, man? You're all set. And like, he played it off like he knew me too. He was like, oh, sorry, I don't want to bother you. And like, He probably walked in there like he was on top of the world. 100%. And to make someone feel like that way, that's powerful.
Yeah.
But it's a game changer. Like he definitely got laid that night, probably.
100%. What do you think your biggest takeaway from that industry was?
I would say my biggest takeaway from that industry was definitely cultivate a relationship and really like get to know people and try to help them. Mm-hmm. Like that's how I became successful at the end of my promoting run. It was like, how can you be interested in other people and how can you help them? So everything was like, hey man, like what, like, because you would like meet people that would come to town and you would handle their dinner reservations.
Right.
You would handle like hooking them up at a hotel, getting them a driver. We don't make money. We didn't make money on any of that stuff.
No, you just did
So
that.
like, how do you go out of your way to help them? And then like hope they're going to, and then, I mean, you don't expect it, but eventually they then gravitate towards you in the industry. And it's the same thing with real estate, with anything. How do you take care of people with no skin in the game, without making any money, without benefiting from it, just helping them, just doing the right thing, and realizing that doing that stuff really got them to come out that night, got them to refer me people, continuing to check in with them, even if they were someone from out of town.
Right.
Hey man, hope all's well. Like I personally still till this day text people I met in nightlife on Christmas, Thanksgiving, personal text messages, like crack a joke. You know, people that I've met in the industry, and yes, you can keep growing. And is it going to become harder and harder to personally text people? Sure, but until I can't type,
Right.
I'm not going to send it. I'm not going to do what everyone else does, which is the mass email with a happy Thanksgiving flyer and a fucking turkey. So I get personal with it, bro. Like I have everyone. I remember people's names. I know their kids, how old they are. That is what nightlife taught me. Like literally how to connect with someone, like you just said earlier, remembering their drink. Like I knew if someone was coming through, I knew what they were drinking.
I know what you guys were drinking. Johnny Black.
Johnny Black on the rocks. Yeah. I don't drink that as much as I used to. I'll tell you that.
Johnny.
Gross.
You know what that reminds me of too, though? Like what you're saying there is when we had Nick Veranda on the podcast. That's
We
like
talked
one of
about
the
that.
things that stuck with me. He was like, he gave the example of like, if somebody's having dinner with like his girlfriend first date, he would make it a point to go up, even if he didn't.
Nick's the best at that, dude.
Yeah,
like Nick is the best at that. Nick
So
will
good.
literally make you feel like you are king of the jungle, bro. Like he will make you feel like you own Boston if you're there. Like you go out, that's why people go.
100%.
Like Nick is a storyteller. He makes you feel great. Like Nick is the GOAT at that, dude. Like he's really good.
That's
He's one of the best in hospitality.
It's a super
You want to know? I was at a random restaurant in the North Shore, like probably 6 months ago with my wife, and Nick happened to be in the same restaurant. And at the end, he sent us dessert and like espressos and stuff at the end. And I didn't even know he was there. There was like a gentleman over there. He must have just recognized that I was there and did that.
Well, Nick,
Not even at his restaurant though, like at another restaurant.
he pays for my haircut. Like when I see him at the barbershop, I get so mad because like he saw me before I saw him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I owe you like 6 haircuts. Like, dude, if you keep paying for mine, I'm gonna owe you like a lot. How am I ever gonna get you back? Like, stop tallying this shit up. Like, but like Nick will just pay for your haircut. Like, he's the most generous person. He does exactly the same thing you just said. Even if it's like he just connected me with someone in the Bahamas, and I just made sure like I had to tell him like I'll pay for my car, I'll pay for the driver. Like, please don't do anything. Like it's just how he is, and that's why he is who he is. Like he's great at it, and like but you guys the same way. Like once again, we learn and we implement. Like when I went to your restaurant with my family, like you guys took care of me. You guys sent me desserts. You guys always help me out when I order from your restaurant, which I order from you more than anyone anytime I get takeout.
Plus one.
So, like you guys always go above and beyond. And once again, it's how you do it. And it's how you made me feel, you know, when I got the delivery, when I got the food, when I got the bill. Like that's what business is about.
Right. It's so true.
I think a takeaway for young people listening is what I've seen and studied of the younger generation is there are too many takers and they think things are too fast. So for example, like, well, I took care of him yesterday and I'm expecting something from him like today. You got to do things and not expect shit in return.
For a while. And
then it starts to return. And if it returns or not, you can't bank on it.
Right.
So, like I see that a lot. People they're just too much on the take and they're not enough of you, they'll open hands and give it.
Yeah, they don't let shit marinate.
Yeah.
They don't slow down the process.
No fucking patience.
Like it's crazy. So I just talked about Josh Almond earlier, and his success. You know, one of Josh Almond's #1 agents, Jacob Green, who kills it. Like he's one of the biggest agents in Boston if he's here, based on the numbers he does. And like the Ellies came out for the Douglas Elliman Awards, and they got #1 large team. We are coming for you.
Yeah. Noted.
And Jacob Green was on the flyer with them. Like, it was Josh, Matt, Heather, Josh's wife, and then Jacob Green. Like, if that doesn't tell you, Jacob has killed it. Like, I'm sure he makes great money, and I'm sure, like, he's very happy with them, but, like, he's on the flyer. Like, he got a title with them now. Like, he is an Altman brother. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and, like, if you wait, sometimes you're going to get the keys.
Right.
Like, at some point, if you're part of something truly that is special, eventually people, you know, that you're working for, which you're working with them for a reason, you trust them.
Right.
They will give you the keys.
Yeah.
They will give you a piece because they don't want you to go. And if you're there long enough, loyalty is a given.
And that's a learning on both sides. It's a learning on the person that's on the other side, on the green side and the Altman side.
For sure.
The Altman side, the learning there is if you keep giving it and lifting other people like him up, people like them will stay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to go above and beyond for your A players. You have to go above and beyond with sharing, you know, cloud or the stage with your A players like that. And the other learning is the greens people will get that if they are an A player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll get reciprocated by the person, you know, like it's shared energy.
And they have to trust you as the owners of the company.
Right.
You're going to do the right thing.
You have to give off that energy.
Yeah, but sometimes people have a killer year, man, in our industry, and they're like, oh, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. It's like, okay, that's great. You can go get that. And we've had a lot of people leave our team, you know, over the years, and, you know, we always wish them the best. Like, we want them to do well, but those who have stayed have grown year over year. And, like, you know, we're going to grow.
Right.
When you own a business, especially in our, like, the way we are built, like, we're looking for growth. We're looking to scale a business no matter what it is. And we need good people around us. You can't scale if you don't pay people to stay and you don't take care of people.
100%.
You need good, loyal fucking killers, dude. Like, you need killers that are going to, like, watch your bank account for you, that are going to look to cut costs when times get tough, because they do. And across the board, it's like, how do you find those people? That's the toughest part of the world today.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is you attract it. Like, they attract it, you know?
Yeah, but social media, bro, like, and perception these days, like, everyone thinks what we do, what you guys do is beautiful. Like, you know, one of my goals, like, once I can find time to do more content, is to show more vulnerability and express my losses and my failures way more than my success stories. Because at the end of the day, like, it's real. Like, if I was to tell, like, if I had I don't do it because, like, I don't have the time to do it. I want to find the time because I think my failures and me showing vulnerability will really help, you know, and translate better to the younger generation.
Yeah.
To, you know, the 25-year-olds trying to get in business, dude. Because, like, it'll tell them, like, man, damn, like, he's real. Like, it really isn't that easy.
Well, that's why we started the podcast.
Right. That's really the reason why we started.
Because
I didn't even know. And I didn't even know. Because I didn't even know that.
I was so fucking sick of people. Like, people text me, "Oh, this guy's killing it. This guy's killing it."
I don't even know.
And I would text him back. I would text him back, be like, well, I wouldn't text him back. In my head, I'm like, dude, no, that person's not. That person's struggling with this. That person's struggling with this. Did you know that he went 4 years of this and 5 years of this? Like, he didn't just poof and end up here.
Right.
This person paid his dues in his personal life and his business life. Like, this podcast is so important because of that.
Right.
Because of guys like George and guys like, yes, they got to a certain level of success, but number one, they're not satisfied. That's a learning in itself. Two, what did they get here? They built this business. They left this business. They had a person, you know, so much shit before they got it. They didn't just poof. 7 years, 8 years of building. Didn't just poof and they sold 1.7 billion.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason that the younger generation, I think, has like this like not realistic expectation of, like, when you said earlier, like, to give and then they're expecting a return right away. Because everybody on Instagram and shit like that is only showing their good stuff, the highlight reels.
They're selling.
So young people are seeing that and they think,
or they're showing something that isn't even real.
Correct.
Yeah, or it's straight facade.
Or someone sends you something like, damn, this person's killing it. It's like, no, he's not, bro. He owes X, Y, and Z this much money.
Correct.
Like, he hasn't paid his mortgage or his loan or his whatever it is. Like, like he can't even sell that house if he wanted to because there's 3 different mortgages on it.
Right.
It's like
3 liens on.
yeah, bro. It's like it's not what it seems to be all the time. But like I'm dealing with it today, and I'm helping agents. Like there's some success stories, like of agents who have actually listened to me and people that have wanted to actually put in the work. But my example of, texting people we go to Aruba every Thanksgiving. Everyone that goes on our trip now, which is like 70, 80 people now, they know that Thanksgiving morning, I'm at the Starbucks downstairs for 3 hours.
Getting everyone's order?
No. Currently texting every single client with their names, with their kids, like telling them that I'm thankful for them, showing gratitude, expressing how like grateful I am for them, because that's what Thanksgiving's about, being thankful and grateful, like because they've helped me or they've mentored me or they've given me, tips and advice over my career. Like that is hard work. You're in Aruba. Yeah, no shit, I'm in Aruba. But I got to do this for 3 fucking hours. Now, what most people do is what I said. They'll send a mass email before they leave. Now, automate that shit.
Yeah.
But you want to be different. You have to be different. Like, you have to be different. You have to pick up the phone. You have to call, even when you don't have it. Dude, I stress more than anyone. I was, yesterday I probably thought that, at one point that I was going to fail in my business and I was probably the worst real estate agent ever. Like, it happens. That's what drives us to it. But, like, for me, if people know, I get calls all the time from younger agents and people that are just coming into the business. I get the DM. It's the same DM. Hey, man, I'm a huge fan. I'd love to meet you for coffee and pick your brain. Like, motherfucker, if you ever jumped in my brain on a Tuesday at 2, you're going to jump right out. Come on in. You won't get in this business. Like, that's what it's going to be. So it's like, and bottom line is, if someone is going to actually learn any industry, they have to be able to not make any money for 6 to 12 months.
Correct.
Plain and simple.
Right. Shit.
If someone needs to make money, you can't just get into real estate tomorrow.
Right.
You can't. You're not going to make any money for a year, probably. I don't care how many people you know. I knew a lot of people. My story about the sports agent and the financial advisor not giving me, not trusting me with their clients because I didn't know what I was doing. You're dealing with people's money. At this point, everything's $1 million. Right. Very, very, very few places you could buy under $1 million in Massachusetts now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's a lot of money, and you have to be able to either live at home, have money saved up, or be willing to work all day long and then go wait tables or bartend at night to pay your bills.
100%.
And come on, guys, not many people want to do that. They got to scroll.
Exactly.
They got to go to the reels. They got to open up the phone and just go through the reels.
People say I found that, people say they want it.
They don't want it.
But then when it comes down to it, and it's been like a month or 2 months of actually doing that or making those calls at Friday at 4:00 or whatever it is.
Yep.
And they realize they haven't made a fucking $1 in 2 months, they quit. It's like, but they say they want it.
Their pain tolerance,
but they don't
is
want
short.
it. Yes.
Like our parents' generation, their pain tolerance was like
it's insane.
No, like what they they came from no English, right? Our parents, same thing, no English. For me, after 30 days, no English,
I'm out.
going back. See you later. I'm all set. I don't know.
Imagine being a parent, bro. Like
that's
like having kids.
Right. I know.
Like, dude, like my parents, like, my wife's parents used to go to, like, my mother-in-law used to take 3 kids with 10 bags to Lebanon in the summer by herself. Like, you think I could take the kids by myself to Florida right now?
No.
The babysitter.
I don't know how they did it. Like, they were just like, fuck it, let's do it. Like, we're softer.
100%.
We're not as soft as this generation after us.
No, they're fun.
But, like, where's it going to go?
I know. No, it's not going in the right direction.
But I got a question, because I could talk an hour about that. But in terms of success stories, because I've been, we're close, right? I've seen a lot of your agents go from infant stage to be successful. What do you think your best success story so far of one of your agents?
I have a lot. Like, obviously, some of them are at a level now where they've been with me for 7 years and they've crushed it and they've killed it. Roy being one of them. He's been with me from the beginning. I think I paid him $6,000 his first year in the business, and he filed papers for us. But once again, he lived at home and he could do it. But Alex Sanchez, one of our, I think he's been with us for 3 years now. He just actually got rookie of the year for Douglas Elliman, Massachusetts.
Wow.
And shout out Alex. He's one of the hardest workers. He emailed me 3 years ago, or maybe a little longer than that. He emailed me, I think 5 times. Never answered him. Finally, one of his last emails was, I'll pay you $2,000 to shadow you for a day.
Wow.
Got my attention.
Bold.
It got my attention. I opened up the email, and someone brought it to my attention. That was in my email. And I pick up the phone. I called him. I go, hey, man, what's going on? He goes, damn, I figured that would get your attention.
Love it.
And he was, I forget, I think he was either at EXP Callaway's. I don't even know, I forget where he was. But he really wanted to join our team. And I said, I have a broker open tomorrow night in Wenham. Meet us there, and let's talk. He came. I spoke to him. I was like, I don't want your $2,000. I respect your hustle. Great tactic on getting my attention. You start Monday. File your paperwork. We'll get your license transferred. And man, was he rough around the edges when he first came.
Was it?
You know, this kid was doing, multifamilies and deals everywhere. And like, once again, luxury space, no matter what the price point is, like we have a specific way of doing things. You want to do it the Sarkis team way? This is how it's done. And Alex was, grinding, but making mistakes, but listening, learning,
Huge.
and taking it in. And man, he's on the board right now. He's our number one agent, I think, on the board now. He's, he just did almost 15 million. He's on pace to do 25, $30 million, dude. Like 3 years with us, 5 years in the business. I mean, there's not many agents that do over $20 million a year in Massachusetts, guys.
Yeah.
Like I think the average agent does like 500,000, like 2 deals a year.
Right.
Or 8 million or 7 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing $20+ million in real estate a year, you're a top producer.
Right.
I mean, you make 300,000-400,000.
So you think the biggest thing with him was just coachability and eagerness?
Being there, like he would play ball with me in the morning at 5 a.m. and we would talk because he would have my attention. If he wanted to, get advice, I would say, great, 6:30, 7 a.m. Not a lot of people now, I say the same thing to him. They're not getting up to meet me at 7 a.m.
Right.
He was, because after 9 a.m.,
Shit's on, baby.
my phone, baby, is see you later. Like, there's problems, there's fires, there's clients. So I told him, and he literally came and met with me. And, we'd play ball, we'd hit the treadmill, we'd talk, I'd give him advice, I'd give him shit. He took it. Like, I knew I could literally fire at him and say, what the fuck did you do this for? Like, you have to do it this way. I told you this. And I could actually be me without worrying about, breaking any laws, or I could really just be George, and I could, give him my honest input, be tough on him. And man, did he take it, and did he use it, and did he parlay it into one of my best success stories, for sure, which has made me, he's one of the main reasons I want to get into coaching and I want to start something special.
I mean, there's nothing better than when you try to coach someone and then they take it, execute on, and then better their own lives.
Right.
Because the other thing that I've noticed in the past couple of years is, I know you guys have always been generally healthy. Yeah, we used to drink a lot when we were younger, but the past 3 or 4 years, I feel like you guys really took your health, fitness to the next level. When did that, and why did that? Because it's you and Manny. It's not just...
Yeah, Manny's always been a health freak, bro.
Yeah.
Manny has always been a health freak. My brother's always ate very healthy. He's always been a gym rat, and like I give him a lot of props for that. For me, I've taken my health super seriously over the last 2 years. In the past 8 months, I went and did a full body scan. Actually, I hired a concierge doctor, and I did all my blood work. I did everything, but it started with going to the gym. I mean, everyone does their goals, and a lot of the time they don't hit them. I set a goal 2 years ago for 2023 that I was going to go to the gym consistently at 4 a.m. 4 days a week, 4 to 5 a.m., which I've consistently done for 2.5 years now.
I've seen that.
4 days a week, minimum, sometimes 5. And it's just like the best way to start my day. It's like I'm married, I have a beautiful wife. I'm not trying to look shredded. I do it for my mental health more than anything, and which is super important to me. It's the best way to start my day. sauna, cold plunge. I'm at 10 minutes down the cold plunge at 44 degrees.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's insane.
He can't do it. He's a pussy.
It's the best. It's the best. It's honestly like better than any
You go
cup of
sweat?
coffee. I do. So I have a routine. I go to Lifetime in Peabody 2 days a week. Sauna, cold plunge there. And we have 2 really early meetings at 7:30 in Boston. So I'll go to Equinox. My gym membership's like fucking $1,000 a month, dude. I go to Equinox 2 days, and then after Equinox, I go to Sweat House.
And do you see when that shift happened, right? When that like 4 a.m., okay, I'm hitting a month. What changed? Like, did it change your production, or did it just give you more peace of mind today?
Everything, just overall, like the best thing that I've done, like that was like, I need that. I don't sleep much. You probably don't either. I've tried to improve my sleeping. I mean, I have my Whoop on.
Shout out to that guy.
Shout out Whoop.
That guy is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Wait him talk about him.
Will's the best.
Smart as hell.
Will's the best. He's one of the guys I said was like a mentor to me and like has given me a lot of great advice.
You're talking systems and process?
Oh, yeah.
You got to calm and dial.
Like, Will's the best, dude. Will's awesome. Whoop, I'm a huge fan. It has helped me do what we're talking about now. Like, I can see, my strain, my sleep score, everything. Don't put it on if you're going to a bachelor party and you're going to get after for a weekend.
That's crazy.
I'd put it away. But that being said, it's like the gym and all that has been huge for me to get to kickstart my day, my mood, just, and really have that 2 to 3 hours to myself.
That's the biggest.
With like nothing bothering. I have a clear mind. Like mental is one thing, but like clear mind of like, that's when the ideas start coming. Oh, yeah. And I'm jotting them down in the notes. But I've also read 17 books in the last 12 months. And then just overall health for me, my diet is not great. Like when I say Manny's a health freak, like he's very disciplined with his diet. For me, just figuring out what I was allergic to, taking blood tests.
Elimination diet.
And then doing the full body scan.
Yeah.
Which was like an hour of me like this, knock on wood. Everything was good, but peace of mind. And then realizing that I probably shouldn't, eat chickpeas and like milk was probably not good for my gut health.
Yeah.
So I'm doing almond milk now, but like trying to cut it out in general. Like that was all just part of the plan. And I needed that because I feel so much better overall.
The key to me is an observer of that, right? Like I don't work with George right now, but if I did, I would look up to that. Like, cause he said he was going to do something and then he did it. Right. So now me working for him and I see him up at 5 a.m. and I'm working for him and I'm thinking if he's up at 5 a.m., I should be up at 5 a.m. or I should be working out. If he's working out 2 days a week, then I should be.
I wish everyone thought that, Valentino.
They don't?
Not every.
A little? It didn't.
A little. It resonates with some people, not with everybody. Some people just flat out say, I'm not a morning person.
Right.
How do you fucking accomplish everything if you wake up at 8 a.m., 9 a.m.? You're already 2-3 hours behind.
Right.
If you got some people in different countries, in different states that are already ahead of you.
Right.
It's like, how do you get ahead of other people? Like specifically, you can beat the West Coast if you're up early here.
Right.
If you're trying to think big picture, it's like, that's it. But like some people, they see it, eventually they get into it more and more and more. But you're around success. It's going to breed success at the end of the day.
Speaking of like having an edge, right? You know what I always wondered is, because you guys are diehard Celtics fans. Diehard, like real ones though. Not like buck around, like real diehard Celtics fans.
10 years old, 12 years old.
Yeah, crazy. And now you guys are courtside. And I feel like that courtside almost branded you guys in a certain way. Like you guys are obviously the Sarkis teams, but I feel like on a brand side of things, as a marketer myself, I look at that and it like upped you a little bit in terms of brand. Did you think that to be true? Like, you think you have ROI on those tickets?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the ROI on those tickets, I mean, yeah, probably some of the relationships I've made sitting courtside, some of the clients that, I've got from bringing them to a game and everything else. But like overall being there, it was, like I said earlier, it was my home base. And for sure it branded us. It helped with branding. The people I've been able to shake hands with and build relationships with, Ed Milet being one of them, like meeting Ed at a Celtics game, to him inviting us to his island, which I am going to sell Ed, like was just, it was different. And like, Ed looked at me or he said something to my brother. He was like, you know, he said it to Manny when we were at the island. He was like, you know, man, this doesn't happen too often with me. Your brother came up to me and your brother like said what's up and we talked and it was awesome. But you know what the best part about it was? After, like I told your brother I might want to buy a condo, he never really bothered me about buying a condo. He would just text me once a month, every couple weeks, and just be like, hey, man, hope all is well. Just want to say hello. And he was like, that's why I invited him here. Like, I don't invite people here. Like, your brother was just special with his follow-up. He was great at it. And, you know, I would never buy a piece of real estate without consulting George anymore.
Right.
And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, appreciate that, Ed. Hope that's true. I'm going to hold you to that. Like, and then we just shot the shit with him for like, 3-4 hours. We, being around people like that, at the end of the day, fuck buying a house from us.
Right.
Their time and being in their presence, and some of my clients, Will being one of them, and friends more than clients, like, you learn so much from these people.
Big time.
Like, it's unreal. It really is. It's like, and they don't have all the answers. They're going through the same shit we are at the end of the day.
Right.
But hearing a different perspective on it is a game changer. It's like, I should pay them for their advice sometimes.
I remember one time we were talking to one of the founders of a company called Freshly. And they're huge, right? They sold for $1.5 billion in our space. They were the leaders in our space at the time. And I got a call with the owner. Somehow someone introduced me to someone. I got on a call with him. And I remember I was asking him questions, like thinking he had all the answers, right? Because you think these guys...
Reassurance. They did. I was happy. So I was asking reassurance. So I'm good, right? I'm going to figure this shit out.
All right. Like, we're going to make it, right? And his answers were so, like, I don't fucking know.
Right.
His answers was like, he's like, we didn't figure it out until like 2 years ago.
Right.
It was so,
We were like, up yesterday. We're back up.
yeah. It was, I was like, what? Because I remember I told him, I said, because they started something called Freshly Fit. And it was like a line of meals that were like designated for Freshly, and it was for more like health and wellness. And we were thinking about doing something called Nutri-Fit, like, follow the leader type of thing. And I remember like, oh, how did that? Because he sold at this point. I was like, how did Freshly Fit do? Because at the time we were changing all of our website to do it. We were changing all of our menu items, chef, this, that. And he was like, oh, it failed.
Oh, big flop.
He's like, it's like big fucking flop. It was the worst thing we've ever done.
Never do that.
He said it confused all of our customers, this and that.
You just saved,
and literally
just saved the day.
I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I pulled my phone. I texted Luch like, okay, we got to get rid of Nutri-Fit. Text the developers. We're not gonna do it anymore. Like, but it's funny you say that because they're going through the same shit. It's just a couple things like hit their direction. They maybe grew up, they learned systems a little bit faster than we did, but they're going through the same problems. Yeah. It's just at a different scale.
Dude, it's crazy. Will's story to me, man. Like, he told me, and I hope this is okay, I gave me to share this, but like, he told me that like raising the first $500,000 was harder than raising his last, $50 million or whatever we needed to raise for like the growth of the company. But it's crazy. There are founding members. You guys don't have Whoops on, by the way. It's bullshit.
I had it on. You want to know why I took it off? My anxiety, I used to look at my heart rate.
Okay, well,
it was at 100 laying down.
Well, we're going to get you guys some Whoops, and you're going to wear it at every podcast. But I will send them to you guys. But he told me flat out that the first members, he had to shift his business, dude. It was, you would buy it up front. I don't know what it was. Maybe $1,000, $500. It was a huge upfront cost. He realized people was too expensive,
right?
Whatever the price was. And then he realized this doesn't work. And then he kind of started to get comfortable in understanding the prescription, reoccurring income, more affordable upfront. How do we do this? How do we do that? And
like the Peloton model.
And kind of like the Peloton model. And now, obviously, it's not expensive to buy the Whoop, and then it's a subscription. And these monthly subscriptions add up and add up and add up. But some of the people who are founding members, they never have to pay. So they're called founding members. Whoop. So they don't pay them. They bought it up front. But he had to shift. And at one point, he was probably like, fuck, this isn't going to work.
Right.
But he shifted. He made a change. He adapted, which we all have to do.
100%.
And about Whoop, just on that category, just as a shout out, they are the best, period. Like, their tracking is the best. Their wearables the best. The app is the best. Like, dude, if you open up the back, I watched this. It says something. It's something on the back. Don't try to duplicate or some shit. For another developer to try not to, like, you have to have the ball.
I mean, bro, because it's light, you can still wear your watch. You can wear it on the other hand. It's light. You can put it here. There's so much that you can do with it. And he did it right, dude. He has the biggest names in sports wearing it.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldo now, Patrick Mahomes, the crazy stories. Patrick Mahomes wearing it in that game against Buffalo where they kept going back and forth. Like, to go back and to see the stats
in his strain
of Mahomes' heartbeat
crazy
on a game-winning drive was like normal.
It was like 80.
Yeah, dude. It was like he was calm as a cucumber.
You're kidding me.
I was at 100 laying down.
Like, imagine like any other quarterback, bro. There probably would have been 170. Like,
100%.
Like, he was calm as a cucumber, and you could go and see those analytics.
Wow.
And be like, damn, he's a killer. Like, Pat Mahomes killer. Not this.
But just that is like, how fucking cool is that? 20 years ago, it's like, you hear stories, right? Like, Mario's how people used to be. Now you can literally track it.
Wow.
I might have to switch back to a whoop. I got the war ring on.
Yeah, dude, take that shit off.
Yeah.
Whoop all day, bro.
Is there anything, so you're dealing with a lot of like high net worth people, like either buyers or sellers, right? Is there any common denominator you've seen between them? Like personality wise or anything that like you see in common?
No, man, everyone's different. I mean, one thing I would say is the self-made, high net worth people really appreciate your hard work and your hustle. People that started something themselves, who understand family values and, I'm a father. I try to be there for my kids. So like just in people who are realistic, some of them aren't so realistic and some of them are just straight business.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are just like, yeah, man, I get it. Like,
yeah,
they've done it. They've been through it. They realize the market. And just being able to, give realistic expectations from the jump.
Yeah.
Because they don't forget they're smart people.
Right.
The common denominator is they're really fucking smart.
Right.
They're successful for a reason.
Yeah.
And they get it. And most likely they're in some sort of successful business.
Yeah.
So like they get it. They're smart. The other common denominator is not so common. They're all fucking different. They have very different personality types, understanding their personalities and, how they want to communicate. Another common, something that they have in common is they like communication. Communication is key. Even if you don't have anything, you're dead in the water. Let them know. Market's tough. So they all want communication.
Yep.
They all want to know what is happening because they're, they like to be in the know.
Right.
That's how they've become successful. They haven't become successful by starting a company and just going away.
Right.
They want to understand. Maybe they can help.
Right. Maybe they have an idea. Right.
Maybe they have an idea. Maybe they know someone. If you're wealthy and you have a $5+ million home, and you're in the ultra high net worth, you might have some friends who might be able to help us.
Right.
That's what we saw with our realtor was also Douglas and the agent, Karen.
Shout out DE.
Yeah, Karen. And I have a question about that too. Karen in Naples. And we actually called you when we first listed them. Like, hey, do you have any good referrals out there? And looking back, the reason I think we loved Karen, because we went through like 7 agents.
Yeah, I remember that.
We were fucking right.
Reason why, I mean, we're like that time. Massachusetts people and Florida people, different. We move fast paced. Those motherfuckers were slow divorcees. Like, we're like trying to get answers and fast and up their ass, and they're like trying to keep it easy. So,
dude, I would randomly show up to open houses from here.
I did too. He would send.
I would send him.
I would be in.
Without me telling him that we were coming.
Drive 2 hours just to show a random open house. Yeah.
And we got to be there on time on the thing because I want to see if they're on time for the.
I would take pictures of the open house.
Put a camera there, dude.
No, we got to be on person.
No,
because then also what I would do.
If Valentino shows up, that's one thing. You show up, I'm gonna fucking go crazy. I'm like cleaning windows and shit.
I was cleaning. I was taking the broom. Do you remember when
I would go there just to like stare at people like buyers when they were coming in, like just to like look at their faces.
That's you cleaning and like and cleaning and doing shit. Like people are shocked when they like I take over a listing sometimes as an expired or someone that like couldn't sell it, and we'll go in there and I'll ask the seller. I'll be like, "Was this being shown like this?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like.
What the step number 1?
What is this? Oh, what is this? Oh, what the fuck is this?
A cockroach.
I'm like, guys, dead bugs. Like it's literally like I'm like, what are you doing here?
Right.
You guys know how many times my suit pants? I wear very tight suit pants, and you know how many times I've had to bend over to clean something, or to literally put water in the drain, like on a rooftop, or like so it's not puddled in the middle, so it gets off the roof deck, and I've
Right. Yeah.
there goes.
you know how many times I've had to literally pick up leaves out of a gutter, or like literally, vacuum the whole house before, or plow, or shovel, or sweep. Like, this is shit we have to do that you don't really see.
Speaking of the suit thing, there's actually a little important thing. You, Manny, great suits.
Thank you.
Noted, great suits.
Thank you.
But how important do you think it is to dress the part? Because there's a lot of agents showing houses in sweatpants or whatever. Like, what's your
That's
take?
never going to happen. I think that as long as you are dressed in a professional manner, jeans are fine, wearing a button up or in a sweater, like that's all fine. I mean, I think that dressing for success in our industry is important. I also, my mindset on that has changed a little bit, just being around specific people and just understanding that, like, you want to be relatable and you want to be approachable. And a lot of my high net worth clients don't actually wear suits. They literally rock like jeans, a t-shirt, and it's like low key. I enjoy dressing up. It's something I like to do. I like to put the suit on, after I work out and get dressed. It just sets a tone for the day for me, but everyone's different. I definitely don't think anyone should ever show a house in fucking sweatpants. They never would on our team, that's for sure. Or they wouldn't be on our team after that. But I think dressing up and just being presentable. Brand names at the end of the day don't matter. You can go to Zara and get a really nice
look the part.
So you can get a nice suit at Zara for, $400.
Yeah.
You can even get one at Indochino for $250. Have a couple nice pairs of suits. But what I always do, this is a trick that if you know me, you know this. If I didn't wear a suit today, because I just went a little more casual, there's a suit in my car.
Ready to rock.
All the time.
Really?
No matter what. Just in case. I don't know. But you have to understand who you're meeting. You get a call. If I get a call from a specific client or potential client, I want to understand who I'm meeting. Like, are they, maybe they don't like specific things. Maybe they're like, you like kind of look at their Instagram or like their social channels and they look super low key. And then you find out that they just drive an old shit box. But, Charlie Benevento, for example, Benevento Concrete, he is super successful.
What a business.
What a business he has. Charlie is low key, like honestly, one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. He gave me an opportunity to sell his house, which we did. And he's became a friend. But like, man, he tells me, Shab, the first day I saw you rolling up with your skinny suit, no socks on.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, pulling up to a job site. Like, he's like, what are you doing? Like, and he's still like, every time he calls me now, we have an inside joke. He's like, you wearing socks? Yeah. And I'm like, yes, I'm wearing socks. I'll never not wear fucking socks again. Yeah. But he wasn't interested in the whole get up.
Right.
Like, he's an old school cat.
He's an old school cat. But once again, I didn't know that. And I was off. Like, I was already, losing before I even met him.
Right.
Because he probably wasn't impressed by it.
It was just
like
sharp.
Yeah, like I'm showing up to a job site, like fucking, and it's like, showing a condo in the city to an international client flying in from Switzerland on a private jet. You're gonna rock a suit, like it's like, who you talking to? Like it's know your audience, know who it is you're talking to, whether it's what you're gonna say or what you're gonna wear when you go to meet them in person. Once again, that takes work. It takes like doing
due diligence,
like not just
understanding people. Like you need to have the emotional intelligence to like understand how to.
Almost like self-awareness.
Yeah,
Self-awareness is a huge thing. I remember watching like a YouTube video. This guy, this construction guy, he has like a G-Wagon, but he's like, you think I'm gonna show up on the job site?
That's where he puts on the coat.
And he's just like, I don't know.
Social media. 100%.
I'm not going there because like my guys see me there, they're gonna be like, "Fuck this guy!" Like I'm not gonna like
for sure.
Him. He's always like sometimes like I go with my pickup truck there.
And listen, it's a double-edged sword, right? There were some people whose business I haven't got, and the reason I haven't got their business is sitting courtside, being flashy, wearing the nice clothes, the nice watch, all that, like knowing everybody, them seeing me at a game, knowing everybody, talking to everybody. specific clients I haven't got because they probably didn't feel like their personal life was going to stay private. Maybe they probably didn't feel that
Well, maybe
I was someone that was low key. And these people ended up, I know for a fact, working with someone in a suburb town who doesn't even have social media and is the complete opposite of me. Now, you can't win them all.
Right.
Now, if I had 10, like for every 10 people, 7 of them are going to like how I dress or the fact that I'm outgoing, and they're going to look at it as like he's successful and he is, people gravitate towards him and he's a hustler and whatever. Some people might be like, oh, what did he do to get all that? He's not ethical. He likes money, or like, he's
charging too much,
or he's not honest. And like, so it's like, but once again, dude, you can't control people's thoughts and assumptions. Like,
Right.
you do what you want, what makes you feel good. You do what you think is right, and you just keep it moving.
Right. Goes back to the R word. Real.
Hell is your
Rocking suits, and that's you, and that's you. But if you're just like trying
I'd like putting a suit on, bro. I don't do it for nobody else. I do it for myself.
Right.
I enjoy it. Like some days, I enjoy wearing sweatpants at my house. I enjoy wearing sweatpants on the weekends. Like,
yeah,
like but like when you're gonna dress up and go show $1 million homes,
Right.
Be presentable. That's it.
You put your uniform on.
You know what the biggest thing is too? Like, I think the biggest takeaway is like when you're communicating with people, like you're a master at networking with people, but being able to know your audience. Like with everybody, like you're saying, talking to Ed, talking to this guy, talking to Celtics game, like it all goes back down to that relationship building. And I think now with AI, this whole thing taking over, everybody's freaking out. Hey, it's taking my jobs in this. You have to go back to actually building relationships with people, eating shit for a bit, and just being a good person. Everybody's trying to fake it and do it. Now, this is our key skills.
I think COVID proved, because everyone thought we were going fully digital after COVID, right? No more in the office, everything on Zoom. We were figuring out like the restaurant business, like what the fuck are we gonna do? I think we found out that people are so starving, and it's part of the human condition that you need to be around other people and you need to have that social aspect.
Community.
You absolutely need that. As much as AI is going to take jobs and all that bullshit, having that personal touch and relationship, I don't think is ever going to go away for hundreds and hundreds of years.
And the people who have the superpower, like George, right? George's superpower is building those relationships. Those people are going to be more valuable because as the masses, like there are not many of them that can do that. The people that can do that, that's their superpower. They're going to.
That's what I tell my son who's 10, because all these kids are smart. Like my son like knows like all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck did you learn that?
He was 5 years old. He came up to me and said, like 5 years ago, he's like, hey, do you know what a fish is? I'm like, I don't fucking know an animal. He's like, well, a fish is because he has gills and he could do this.
No, it wasn't a fish. It was like what's a sea creature? Like a man? No, not a man.
No, what's a mammal or something?
So I was saying, we don't even know if you know how to re-explain this morning. But I just looked at what the my parents didn't speak English when they gave me it. Sucked. It's not off that power. No. I was like, I was listening to ABCs and I thought, shut the rest of their oh yeah.
Arthur, PBS.
But the point I was trying to make, Tim, is like everyone's gonna be smart. Everyone's gonna know computers. Everyone's gonna have all the knowledge. It's who's gonna be able to look someone in the eye, shake their hand, and be able to have like a real conversation with them and make people feel good.
Yeah.
And have emotional intelligence. That's gonna be the difference for the next generation.
That's the magic.
No question. And a book that you should read that I just started, which is really gonna help. I hope help my daughters. But it's 38 Letters to My Son. It's from Rockefeller. Well, 38 letters that he wrote to his son, and they start off like, Dear John, today one of my biggest competitors, passed away and died, and I am so upset. I don't know, and it's a story about how the fuck is he going to get up every morning and do what he does, because that competition was what got him up. And then it's another story to it, and it's insane. And it's read this and you'll be able to, kind of pass this off.
That's awesome.
It's write your own book technically, to your kids, but it's a great story for parents, in teaching them these lessons that we have, that we're gonna be able to share.
What a great piece of advice. I think I'm gonna.
Speaking of a book, I feel like you guys could write a book soon. Is that in the cards in the future, the Sarkises?
Yes. I'm personally, it's one of my goals for 2025 to at least I've been writing down ideas. I have a title that I won't share today, but it's going to be a book based on kind of the journey, but like it's going to be targeted for that, under 30 crowd and group of people, because what we're talking about right now, like you need to understand this shit's real.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you are going up against the odds.
Mhm.
And it's going to be about cultivating relationships, the power of your network, and parlaying it, because you could be a mortgage broker who turns into a real estate agent, and that book of business and those relationships are going to help each other. You could own a restaurant, and then you could end up going into private equity. And it's going to the relationships. We're all in the people business.
Right.
Everything in sales is people. You're in the people business. We're not in the business to sell meal prep. We're not in the business to sell dishes. We're not in the business to sell homes. We're in the people business.
Right.
People work with people that they
Like.
Yeah, they're like,
plain and simple. Technology, it doesn't have emotion.
Yeah. So true.
Trying to make
It doesn't have emotion. So it's like, that's the book. And it's like, I get some great people that are going to, write some nice, I have someone who's going to write my forward, who's a mentor and a huge name in business that everyone knows about. And I get some of my bigger athlete clients and best friends that are going to, write some messages for me on the back. And hopefully that the book can help people. I'm not doing it for money, because I'll probably lose money at the end of the day writing a book. But I'm doing it because it's part of my legacy, and gratitude is everything at the end of the day.
That's awesome.
and what about the future of the Sarkis team in itself? Is there anything that, what your goals are in the next couple of years, or any plans, maybe new markets? Like what's...
Yeah, growth. I mean, growth, scaling. There were definitely some markets we want to, enter and grow in. Cape and the Islands for sure. Like we're interested in that. Like we already have a Douglas Elliman office in Nantucket. We will be staying at Douglas Elliman. It's the greatest, brokerage in the industry. In my opinion, it is the definition of success and luxury success in boutique. It's like they're not taking on any agents. They look for the right fit, and they're more quality over quantity. So we love Douglas Elliman. We're definitely DE through and through, no question. The relationships there that we've built have helped us elevate our brand. So we'll be with Elliman for a long time, and we want to continue to grow throughout New England. New Hampshire's in the cards, Maine. You think about Boston's slow in the summer, right? So it's like, where do our clients want to go? We want to be able to go with them where they go.
Winnipesaukee. As soon as the
Yeah.
summer happens.
We've been looking for New Hampshire.
I mean, I love Maine too, guys. Maine is a sleeper, but like we grew up going to North Conway as kids. Like we loved North Conway, and it was awesome. Like we used to have a house on Mount Cranmore, and just hitting Route 16 and going up there, like escaping. Like that was awesome. But like Kennebunkport, Ogunquit,
There's so much.
these markets have so much potential. And then Lake Winnipesaukee is a huge, huge market. Like that, I would love to sell real estate there at some point.
And then something I always wanted to know, and I asked you when you guys first started years and years ago, was when you guys first started, right? Like when you first, like you decide which brokerage you want to work with, and there's so many, right? Why did you choose Douglas and Edelman back in the day?
Well, it was kind of on accident, to be honest. I was just working for Otis and Ahern, a small boutique brokerage in Boston, and Douglas Elliman acquired Otis and Ahern, and I was leaving because I didn't really understand who Otis and Ahern, who Douglas Elliman was, and I was like, I'm going to start my own brokerage. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I was young. I was just getting started in the business, and I went to an event in Aspen for top producers for Douglas Elliman. I was the only Massachusetts agent that went because we just had been acquired, and it was an expensive trip to go on, but I had some money from nightlife, so I paid and I went to this event. And I was like, I'm going to just see how Douglas Elliman is before I actually make a decision. And I pulled up to this event, and I mean, the biggest names.
Bells in the Earth.
I mean, you're talking the Altmans, Frederick Eklund, all these big names in real estate and people. I was like, damn. And I just, did my thing. I met with them. I learned from them. And it just was a family. I saw everyone and how connected they were. the Aspen brokers with the LA brokers, in Florida with New York. And I was like, this is cool. And that's what made me want to stay with Elliman. But I just happened to stumble on, like, Douglas Elliman just happened to be there to acquire the brokerage I was at.
That's pretty much why we went with Karen. Karen works with Douglas and Elliman. The first thing I thought about was our conversations back in the day where George would always tell me, like, dude, the referrals that come from other brokers, from the Palm Beach guys, I tend, like, just the interconnected referral base is so large compared to any other brokerage I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
So that's when we hired Karen. The first thing I told Karen was call fucking Manny and George and see if they have anyone looking in Naples. Remember?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, from an outsider looking in, I see that.
Yeah.
Like the interwebs of development is crazy.
For sure. No question.
Crazy.
All right. So we're all pretty much out of time. So we always wrap up each episode with one last question for the guests. So what is the best piece of advice you could pass on to a young person, either starting in their entrepreneurship journey or,
Life advice.
Life advice.
Listen, and shut the fuck up. I mean, literally, it would be to listen. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. It's not about you. It's about other people, what's important to them. Don't get everything out. Like, it shows that you're nervous. It shows that, you have insecurities. It's all about the person that you're speaking to, not just hearing them, but actually listening to them is the most powerful piece of advice I could give any young, entrepreneur, anyone who is getting started in business, wants to be in business, or even just anyone that's just doing whatever. Like, listen to people, man. Like, understand what they're saying, take it in, and be able to actually respond and give feedback and input to having a good conversation and bettering and just helping. Like, listening is the key. If I could go back and, say less and listen more, I mean, I would do it all day long.
And sometimes the ego gets in the way when you're young.
You gotta leave your ego at the door.
You think your ego
go at the door.
Think you know better than the person who's above you or your boss or something. You start to think, that's the thing.
There's a lot more, but that's probably the most important.
Yeah. This is a great episode. I could go on for the next
Same here.
couple hours.
Yeah, legit.
I appreciate you guys having me, for real.
No problem.
And congrats to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, George.
So follow the Sarkis team and George Sarkis and his brother Manny. They're kicking ass, and follow their journey on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everything, right?
Everything, you name it.
Yeah, they'll be there. All right, thank you guys.